All right, welcome to Voice Podcast. My name is Reed, and once again, we are joined by...
Hi guys, my name is Leighton. I'm one of the backstage producers for the SA Voice podcast here. I'm just stepping in behind the mic and the camera today just due to illness, and thanks for having me on. Really excited to kind of get into it again for my second ever episode.
There you go.
And what do we got on the docket today? What's going on?
So today we have Caitlin Grundy coming on. Caitlin just finished her program with the Walt Disney program. She just went over to Florida to work at Walt Disney Disney World, and that's something that we offer here at St. Lawrence. So she's able to kind of give us perspective on what that was like for her, what it was like to apply, and what it was like to work for the Disney Corporation. So I'm excited to get into it because that's an experience, that's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of opportunity that someone here from Kingston is able to go and do.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that we offer those kind of opportunities for students, and it kind of flows with what our theme went with last week with Gil, a little international flavor. So.
Yeah, so we kind of get to experience what it's like on the other side, right? Like we're going from Canada to another country, and with Gil last week, it was, what's it like coming to Canada. So we get to see two different experiences. You can call us at our extension 1677 if you have anything that you want to talk about, you want to come on the podcast. We're more than happy to have you come on. So stick to it, and we'll see you soon. All right. Well, welcome, Caitlin. So why don't you introduce yourself and sort of your program here at St. Lawrence and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Caitlin. I'm in second year at the Advertising and Marketing, same as you, Reed. I've always lived in Kingston, so I haven't traveled too far to come here.
Cool. So why did you choose St. Lawrence specifically when choosing programs?
So I actually chose St. Lawrence specifically for the Disney College program.
Oh, okay.
Originally I was going to go to Humber in Toronto, but they didn't have the program, and it was a huge weighing factor for me. Mm-hmm. So after doing a lot of debating, I decided to come here for the program specifically.
Right. So
you
obviously
chose, this college just for the Disney program.
Just for the program.
Wow, that's great.
Yep.
So you obviously wanted to get away from, you're from Kingston, so you did want to go somewhere abroad.
So I was like, I'm going to either go to school somewhere else, or I'm going to go to St. Lawrence and then travel while doing school.
So for our viewers who don't know, what is the Disney program? What does it look like? And why did you choose it? Kind of start from the top there.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a Disney College program, and it's offered to a lot of people all around the world, because I know people who are there from like New Zealand and everything. So like it's definitely offered worldwide. And so I applied for the international one, obviously. And the one I went on was an academic exchange, so I also paired up with the University of Florida and did some courses on hospitality there. Yeah, cool. I am a Gator chomp.
That's awesome. Did you get to go to the campus and the football games?
Yeah,
and kind of stuff?
So I didn't see a football game, which is not a big problem for me because.
Was it in Tallahassee? Is that where the campus is?
It's in Gainesville.
Excuse me.
Yeah. So we were there. I was living on campus for 10 days before we actually moved to Orlando. So I kind of lived the life of a Gator, I guess.
That's cool.
And went to their dining hall and everything. And
it's a huge campus, eh?
Yeah, it's definitely huge. But yeah, so we paired up there, had some hospitality courses. And there's people on different exchanges, cultural exchanges, culinary exchanges. But the one I went on was the academic, because I could be there for 6 months instead of 3 months. So
okay, that's cool.
So what are some specific things that you would learn about while you were there, like academically?
Academically, it was about hotel management and resort development. Was a huge part of it. So we actually did a project where we built our own resort and hotels and everything, and financed them, and just seeing how everything was run and seeing the org chart of the hospitality industry and everything. So it was kind of cool to see how it was run. It was definitely different from what I'm used to studying.
Yeah. Well, was there any tie-in between the AMC program and what you were learning about, or was it two very different?
There was a little crossover, I want to say. We talked about the marketing mix and price promotion, all that kind of fun stuff. So there was stuff where I was like, oh, I know this. Other than that, there's not a huge crossover, just because advertising and marketing is more on the creativity side and less on the business side. Right. So I think that's why there's not as much crossover.
Yeah. So tell us a little about your experience from when you first got there. What was that like for you, sort of being far from home and in a new environment?
Yeah, what did your day-to-day look like?
day today looked like, well, woke up on the top bunk, whacked my
Bunk
head
beds,
off
there
every
you go.
morning. Kidding, I'm too short to whack my head off the roof. So when I first applied, it was this huge process to get in because you're an international student. So not only are you applying to be a part of this program, you're now also applying for your visa to be an international student,
Right.
which I never knew was such a process. Like, I see international students coming here all the time, and I don't know, they just appear.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anything of it. I'm just like, oh, you're here, cool. But I was like, oh my goodness, this is such a process to, like, become an international student.
Hey, can you briefly talk about what are the steps
Yeah.
to going through that?
So for the program, I was interviewed by the school and a couple alumni from St. Lawrence to see if I would be able to get pushed forward to get interviewed by Disney. And I actually completed some interviews for those traveling in June. So we did some of those this morning as well. But you also have to apply for it's like a school/work visa. So, like, technically you're there on a school visa, but you're also doing work, but they call it a
Right.
co-op, so it kind of slides in and it's
Right.
fine. So you have to apply for that online, and it takes forever to see if it gets approved. And I think I got my visa like 2 weeks before I flew out.
Oh, wow.
Like, it was insane.
Wow.
I was like,
And were you
people-
trying to phone, and you're obviously pretty stressed out before
This
was
is what
happening?
happens. You're supposed to expect this.
Right, okay.
Like, I had alumni telling me, like, yeah, we had it a few days before we flew out.
Wow.
Like, this is just what you should expect. I was like, oh my goodness.
wow.
Am I going or?
Yeah.
So I think it was like a lot of waiting process that I had to go through. And then also I also had to apply for the University of Florida, not the same as if you were going to go there like full-time student, but they had like a separate type application that I had to fill out.
Right.
Because then I had to be accepted by them as well, since it's an academic exchange.
Okay.
So then I had to apply as an international student to them as well as applying for the Disney program. So I kind of applied to two different things, but they like coexisted. So it was like a lot of like applying and deadlines, and the waiting game was something I've gotten very good at.
Right. Wow.
Just being patient. So, 6 months exchange, you said?
Yeah.
So did that take up most of your academic year? Because the standard semester here in Canada is about 4 months. So did that take up your whole year last year?
It didn't take up my whole year. I was here for first semester.
Okay.
I left during the summer. I left at the end of June, and I came back.
Oh, it starts in June.
It starts in
Oh,
June,
okay.
yeah. We left at the end of June. This year they're leaving at the beginning of June. I think I got back about 5 days before Christmas, so I missed my whole second semester. I was able to transfer some of my credits over from the University of Florida, and right now I'm kind of playing catch-up with online courses and everything else, which is fine. There's a lot of programs. Like, I know if you go on the academic exchange and you're in a culinary program and you don't do the culinary exchange, your credits won't transfer, and you have to like wait a whole year to.
So you said you missed your entire second semester. Was that just because you didn't have the prerequisites from the fall semester, or?
No, I was in Disney.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you couldn't have taken any classes in that second semester. So what did you do for second semester?
For second semester, so there's a total of 5 classes, and then 2 of them I got out of because some of the stuff that I did with the University of Florida was able to cross out, like my general education, and I actually ended up taking an advanced design and layout to cover up for that class that I missed. I took that online as well. And then
Okay, so you're still in school.
Yeah, so
you
I'm
weren't sitting
still-
at home on the couch. Okay, gotcha.
No, yeah.
Gotcha.
I was
And
in
were you
school.
in any direct contact with the teachers here, or was it basically? you
Yeah,
kind of on
so
your own?
Kathy, who is our like head of our program, I was in contact with her like at least once a week, and we
Right.
were always talking about stuff, and I've probably met up with her like 5 times since I've been back, just
Oh, okay,
like
yeah, nice.
seeing like where I'm fitting courses. I'm gonna jump in with the first years next year to finish up some stuff.
Right.
But
That's awesome.
I
So
still have
they're
another
pretty-
year left, so it's fine. I can play catch up.
They're
and-
accommodating and help you out, eh? That's good.
yeah,
That's
no,
good to know.
this is a really good program to be in if you're gonna go on the program, like on the exchange program, because they really are very flexible with it.
So, what did your day-to-day look like? You woke up in the morning, you went to class. I mean, some of our viewers, maybe myself included, I hear the word Disney and I see you going on rides all day and meeting
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse and hanging out at the theme park, but we know that's not what it's about. Can you
And
kind
looking
of
at your
just
social media, it kind of did look like
Yeah.
that. sometimes,
just
right?
walk us through what the program brought to you as a student and what it looks like? Give our viewers at home kind of a taste of what that day-to-day looked like for you.
Yeah, so classes were actually online. I never went to a physical class, so that kind of made it easier with deadlines and stuff and not having to like fit in. Oh, Fridays at 5 o'clock I have to go to class. I can do it on my own time whenever I
Right.
had spare time. And then I sing a bit of classes where that the academic level in America is different from Canadian. So
In
they
what
almost didn't expect as much out of me.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like I find like Canadian academics is way harder.
Right. Okay.
And so like I was able to like do things last minute because I was used to doing at the level that
So you
Canadian
found
schools are.
found sort of the grade level was a
It
little
was
bit
definitely
below where you're
lower,
used to.
yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't heard that.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I've heard it before and I was like there's no way that's true, but
it really was.
it really is. It's different.
Interesting.
Maybe Canadians are just like harder markers or
Right.
something. I don't know what's up with Canada. But I'd wake up, shifts would range, we're college students. We're not full-timers, we're not even part-timers. We get whatever's left.
Right.
Sometimes that means you're doing 6 a.m. shifts. A lot of times full-timers will take that. A lot of the times I'd work the night shifts, which means I got off work at 3 a.m., which is fine. Like, you get used to it, but you might get off at 3 a.m. and then go into work the next day for 10 a.m.
So what did your shifts entail? What was your duties?
So for my first 3 months, I did merchandising at Magic Kingdom. So I would work with I did strollers, wheelchairs, and the electrical wheelchairs. So I would sell them, I'd clean them, put them away, collect them, that kind of stuff. When you hear about it, it sounds kind of like, ooh, that doesn't sound like a great job. But like the people that you work with and like just working at Disney, like it was probably my favorite job that I did there.
Wow.
Like we were such a close knit family that like it didn't matter what you were
Yeah.
doing. Like we had music playing in the back and
Right.
like I don't know, it was a great time. Like
And did that
I
hit
loved
off
it.
right away, or was that a bit of a process to kind of like get connected with everybody?
well, when I went there, like I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
Like I knew I was doing merchandising, I didn't know where. So like, of course, what I was thinking was I was in some sort of like clothing store, and I didn't think anything of it. But I don't know, the people there were just super welcoming, and I didn't ever be like, oh, I don't want to be in strollers. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, I never had that feeling, so that was great. And then a lot of that, that kind of, sorry, that position closes the park. So, like, we have to wait till every single last guest exit the park at night
Right.
for us to actually go home.
What time does the park close?
Depends on different nights. Sometimes it usually closes around 10 p.m. after our fireworks. But I was there during party season where we had our Halloween and Christmas parties, which were like a special ticketed event.
Okay.
Those ended at ranging from 12 to 1 a.m.
Right.
And it takes people a few hours to get out of the park. People
Right.
like to,
So you can't
sit
really
around.
just kick them out, like
You're not allowed to ask them to leave.
Wow.
Like no one in the
okay.
park, not even high up, can ask someone to leave.
Wow. Okay. So they could be there all night.
They
if want.
technically can't, but I
Right.
mean, we go up to them. Do you know how to get home?
Right.
know, like,
yeah.
we're
so
gonna-
suggest it a little
We
bit,
stand
yeah.
around and like
Right.
we make you uncomfortable because it's 3 a.m. and I work
Yeah.
at 10.
Right.
But I don't know. Those night shifts were also fun because if you have a good group that you're working with at night and closing, and you're like the last people in the park, and that's where we take all our night pictures by the castle.
Yeah.
So were your coworkers other exchange students, or were they full timers who lived and worked?
It was a mix, actually. We had a lot of, like, what will probably scare viewers a lot is that Disney, after 2 p.m., is mainly run by college students
Wow.
who have no idea what they're doing.
You heard it here first. Yeah, there you go.
That is the truth. Most of us are college students that run the entire Disney World.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's absolutely insane. So, yeah, I worked with a lot of them, and a lot of us just, like, click together because we have a lot of commonalities, and we usually work the same shifts, like the night shifts. But I work morning shifts with the full-timers, too, and they're super nice, and I love the full-timers as well. So you get to work with a little bit of everyone, but every time you go to a new place, you find your college program students right away.
How many people does Disney Park employ?
Ooh. Too many. I don't.
Tons, eh?
So
It's gotta
many.
be, thousands.
Like,
and
there's, like,
thousands.
It's literally a world. Like, it has its own roads and street signs and parking lots, and it has 4 different theme parks within this Disney World. Like, people who don't know what Disney World is, like, it is a world. It has its own street names.
Right.
Like, it's a bubble
Right.
that you just live in. So it's like a whole other city.
Yeah. How many visitors per day would you say go to Disney World?
I actually know this number because my second half of my work experience, I did parade audience control. So I did audience control on our afternoon parades, and then I also did like ticketing and entry and stuff. So we get the numbers on a slow day, which was usually Sundays, Mondays, or party nights, because people don't want to pay to have to leave the park at 6 o'clock on party nights. Is about 60,000.
Wow.
A day. That's a slow day.
That's a slow day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Busiest
then
day?
the cap is around 90,000, and they hit cap. So I was texting my friends who were still working there New Year's Eve. They hit cap at 11:30.
Wow. So a little bit smaller than the entire population of the city of Kingston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be inside Disney World on any given
That's
night.
insane.
That's
Yep.
crazy. So just the amount of logistics and manpower required to kind of not police, but just control those people and make sure they have a good time must be enormous, eh?
It is, and like a lot of it goes like people don't even notice what you're doing. Like when I worked parade audience control for parades, we're just standing in the walkways making sure people are going on the sidewalk so you don't get run over by these huge floats that aren't gonna stop.
Yeah.
And like, or we're making sure walkways are clear so that you can walk freely, like to go somewhere that you're going if you're not staying for the parade. And a lot of people don't even notice that there's about 50 people just on that one street doing that job to make sure that you're able to walk from point A to point B while there's a parade going on and not be interrupted.
Right. That's cool. Wow. Do you have any stories of dealing with customers? Or
Yeah, what's a crazy story? I'm
Yeah,
sure you got
yeah.
something good.
Ooh, crazy stories. I mean, I think a lot of the crazy stories will happen when I'm doing front entry, like entrance into the park. And it's really true. We talk about it all the time. When people go on vacation, they leave their brains at home.
Yeah.
They really leave their brains at home, like every single part of it.
So you have to take care of every single person that
Yeah,
that
well,
walks
it's
through
like
there.
we have safety protocols. Disney's number one thing is safety. Everything's safety. It's like before efficiency, before show, before courtesy. It's safety.
Okay.
And so when we do our entrance, we have different entrance points and different exit points. You can't exit through an entrance point because that's a safety hazard. If I got like 5 people going through the entrance point and someone's going through the exit, they're gonna get run over and get hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're like, it's very strict. Like you cannot exit through the entrance point.
Mm-hmm.
And they are like fairly beside each other, but we have like 5 million signs to point you towards the exit. The amount of people who physically will shove you over because they don't want to take an extra 10 steps to get to the
And
exit.
aggressively.
Oh, aggressively.
Wow.
Like very aggressively. Like I've been like thrown to the ground because they
Seriously?
wanted to exit through the entrance point.
Wow.
I
So
was
you're,
like,
you're being assaulted because people wanted to exit the park. Huh.
and they didn't want to take an extra 10 steps.
And do these people get banned from Disney World,
You
or
would
like what's the
think, or
protocol there? Or is it
something.
kind of just like?
I mean, like, it depends on the extent. Like, I mean, I just roll my eyes. Like, they're going to do what they want to do. Like, I'm not going to chase after them because they wanted to exit the park where they
Right.
shouldn't. Like,
right.
to be honest, it's fine. I just roll it off my shoulder. But there are cases, like I've had friends who work the parade audience control at night during fireworks, and people get very aggressive during that when they get told where to stand and where they can't.
Yeah.
Wow.
One night, we've had 2 people got physically punched in the face, and someone got, like, ran over by one of our strollers, like, on purpose. And, like, they're allowed to say, like, by state of Florida law, you can't do this. And, like, I'm going to call, like, they call security over and
Right.
they get written up and they're not allowed to be on property. And
Right.
if they have extended, like, if they are supposed to be at the park tomorrow, they can't.
Right.
So, like, you can take it that far, but if someone's just going to shove me over because, like...
But was that very rare, or was that kind of common that those incidents happened?
Getting punched in the face is not super common.
Okay.
It's not common
Somewhere in the
enough for
middle.
you not to want to call security.
Right. Okay.
Like, if they're going to punch you, you don't know if they're going to punch someone else,
Right,
right?
okay.
So you have to call security. For them to push me over happens once every few weeks. So, like,
Okay.
if I'm not actually getting hurt, then I don't care.
Right,
If I were
right.
to, like, fall and break my arm, then I'm going to care.
Yeah.
Because healthcare is extremely expensive in the States.
As we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
$80 for 2 Tylenol. Yeah. We've all heard those stories.
Yeah, that's true. I went for an X-ray and it cost me $200.
So there you
So
go.
did you have a lot of time to sort of explore Florida as a whole, or was it mainly you were in Disney, or you were doing school, or like that's sort of was your entire life?
I definitely found myself inside the Disney bubble for the majority of the program because I went without a car.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have free buses to get us to all the different parks and anything in that Disney bubble, or to like the Walmart or whatever for groceries.
Right.
But like outside of that, like you have to pay for an Uber, which gets expensive.
Right.
And then like if you want to go with your friends somewhere, like your schedules just won't line up, and so I didn't really travel a whole lot outside of that Disney bubble besides Gainesville.
So was there a staff accommodation or something that you stayed in, or was it like a campus res, or like I'm sure there must have been an apartment building, something where you lived, where you slept, and then you went to work. What did you do to go, feed yourself, get your groceries? Was there a dining hall, or did you have to Uber to go to the local metro or whatever?
Yeah, so it's kind of set up like apartment complexes. It's strictly for college students, though. So you have the international college students, and then you have like the people from the U.S. come, and they're all welcome to stay there. International college students have to stay inside the apartment complexes, just because they can't guarantee that you have a house somewhere because you're international. So you're expected to stay there. There's 4 different complexes, and they're huge. And then I was in one of them, and the apartments have up to about 20 to 30 apartment buildings that have 2 to 3 levels. So like they house quite a few people. My personal apartment, we were a 6-person 2-bedroom.
Okay.
So that's why I was top bunk, because we have 3 bedrooms, 1 apartment. One of them was a bunk bed. So I was top bunk in one of my rooms. But they range. Like sometimes you can be in a 1-bedroom 3-person, or you can be in there's a 6-person 3-bedroom, which that would have been nice, but you get what you get. They're building new ones right now, actually, that are supposed to be like a lot more expensive, but they're supposed to be more of a dorm type style, where it's like everyone gets their own bedroom,
Right,
and
just
you have
common
a common
living
area.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
They don't provide any food, but they do provide like the bus to Walmart, or you can walk 15 minutes to go to Publix, which is what I usually did. And then you just bought your food, brought your groceries home. So they didn't like provide much besides like your housing wasn't even technically provided. They took your rent out of your pay every week.
Right.
So, but like it was a good place to stay, and it was super safe. Like they had security. You have to have your ID to be able to get in, and if you had a guest, you had to sign them in. If the guest was under the age of 18 or something, they had to be related to you to be able to come in.
Okay.
So like it was like they were very top notch about that kind of stuff, which was good. And I didn't have to feel like I was unsafe in Florida or anything.
Right. Now, sort of going back to being away from home, what were sort of some of your challenges there? Or was it kind of like, I'm a Disney, like I don't care, or like did you have any sort of
did you get
anxieties?
homesick at all, or was there any kind of challenges you faced?
I had a lot of challenges with housing, to be quite honest.
Right.
Living with 5 other girls.
Yeah.
I feel like I just had the luck of the straw, where like none of them knew what cleaning dishes were, and one of them didn't know what laundry was, and that they thought it was like for breezing their clothes, and that was laundry.
Oh no.
So
oh no.
it was just like the luck of the straw. Like everyone else had great roommates, and I'm like, how do I have all 5 of them that don't do dishes? So, I mean, housing wasn't a great experience for me, just because I played mom a lot. Be a great mother, though. Like, I'm prepared for it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I was just cleaning, and we ended up having, like, maggot problems because they left rotten food on the floor, and I played exterminator with my can of Raid. And
that is, like, the worst scenario that you could think of having, like, a maggot problem. That's high end. Like,
you're selling it now.
I'm like, let's go. Everyone go to Disney. But, I mean, like, I was the only one that had that problem. So, I mean, I'm just, like, super unlucky for that, I guess.
Fair enough,
like, I've talked to so many people about housing. No one's had that kind of issue.
I'm just going to turn the mic towards you a bit. So
yeah, for sure.
Just feel like we're not quite getting a full...
no, it's okay.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
But, yeah, so, I mean, I was just unlucky with that. But it's fine. Sometimes I would sleep over at other people's houses if I felt like pretty crawlies, and I was
okay. Yeah.
But that means I'd come home to more dishes.
Right. Interesting. And sort of what were some of your strategies, I guess, to kind of just hang on to like loving your experience there? Yeah,
we definitely tried to talk about it. That they just like genuinely didn't care that they were living in a maggot's house. Apparently, I was like, cool, that sounds good. Raid will always be your friend.
Okay.
That stuff, it don't matter what it says, it kills everything.
Right.
I was like, it doesn't say it kills Megas, but turns
There you
out it
go.
does.
Yes.
So that's good. I don't know. I just didn't worry about it too much. I cleaned. I played exterminator and played plumber and wore some different hats. But
There you go.
Right.
I mean, it's just a learning
Learning
curve,
too.
right?
Yeah,
I mean, now I
exactly.
know that I don't want to live with 5 other people.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah.
know, like, I want to know who I'm living with. I'm not going to just live with random people.
Yeah, I've never really heard great things about living with like 5 other people.
Important
like,
lesson to
living in a house
learn.
of
I've
6,
lived
like,
with 4 or
Yeah.
5 other
I
people
live by
too.
myself, and I think that's the best thing that's ever happened for me.
I
I love
think it
having
is.
roommates, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, like sometimes that
You don't know someone until you live with them.
Exactly.
You really don't.
You really don't. It's true.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
see great friendships crumble after
Yeah,
living with
it
each,
happens.
with each other
It
for 6
happens.
months. They don't talk to each other anymore. So,
Yeah.
so recycling, going back to kind of the student side again.
Mm-hmm.
What were kind of some of your favorite takeaways? What did you really come away when you came back to Kingston from Disney? You're like, that was awesome. This is worth doing, and just kind of share that message with some of our viewers
Yeah.
as to why Disney is A, an awesome program, and B, why they should do it.
So I think the main part that really like, strung something inside me was like the magical moments that you make. Whether it be like the simplest things of I would grab a Mickey glove, and after the fireworks go, obviously we have thousands of people exiting the park, and I just stand there while they're exiting and I wave the Mickey glove and they'll, see you real soon or have a
Right.
great night. Little kids love to run up and give you like Mickey high fours.
High fours.
Yeah, because Mickey only has
Yeah.
4 fingers.
Right, high
And some
fours.
kids are really shook about that when they see, they're like, why is there only 4? Did you not meet Mickey? He only had 4. Like, I didn't just cut one off. Like, he
Right.
only had
Yeah,
4.
yeah. You're not a monster.
Yeah.
This is the way it is.
Yeah, this is how it was. And then I remember I had one little boy come up to me and he was like, I was waiting for this all day because I guess he didn't have a chance to meet Mickey, and he just wanted to give Mickey a high five. And I was like,
Right.
I will pass this on to Mickey.
Right.
Don't you worry. Like, this goes right back to Mickey. I just borrowed it from him for the night.
That's
and,
cool.
like, there's just things, and like little kids are just, I don't know, I love little kids. I had one little princess come up and she opened her autograph book that the character signed. She goes, can you sign my autograph? And I was
Wow.
like, oh my goodness.
Touched your heart, eh?
Wow.
That's
Because
good.
some kids are just, I don't know, it's amazing. Or if you see mom and dad fighting, because that's what happens on vacation. The kids are just sitting there. I go and grab them like a Mickey hat, and I'm like, here, like put this on, and then
Right.
like we like play around or
Parents
whatever.
get stressed. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they take it home, and then instead of remembering, oh, mom and dad were fighting, well, now you remember, oh, I got this cool hat, and we played,
Right.
I was Mickey and she was Minnie, and we played around.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Disney doesn't care if you, like, you can give away something under $50. They don't care. You're
Right.
making a magical moment. Like, they really don't care.
Yeah, so I guess what are sort of some of the benefits, and maybe even you can talk about the negatives of working for the biggest corporation in the world, pretty much. Like, I mean, you're working for Disney. Like, so what are some of the insights in that? A little bit?
Honestly, I never had, like, a negative, like, obviously I have negative experiences at work because, like, some
It
people,
happens, yeah.
it just happens. It happens everywhere. But, like, the way Disney treats their employees, like, I've never had a negative experience with
Right.
that. Like, my shifts were everywhere, but, like, to be expected. I'm doing shift work. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole, but they still treat us amazingly. Like, I got paid one day while I was on the clock. They, like, took us all upstairs and we ate tacos and watched
Right.
Disney movies. And they
Right.
just paid me to do that.
Wow.
Because they were like, we're just celebrating you and thanks for doing what you do.
Cool.
It's incredible because like a huge corporation like that, and even in a school society like a university that's huge, you're kind of treated as a number, and you're kind of just treated as someone that is just there. So you
They do a lot to appreciate their cast members,
Yeah.
which is why I think Disney's cast members are always so happy and like
Yeah.
so great with guests, is because they're treated properly and like, they get free food on their breaks,
Right,
and they
right.
get a pat on the back every now and then, which
Right.
is just what you need, right?
I'm glad that the conversation kind of shifted to this topic because we're all business students.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that the customer comes first, but most of the times your own employees come first. And
Yeah.
you look at companies like the Disneys, like the Costco's, like the Apples, the Googles. They all treat their employees very well. They pay
Yeah.
them very well, and they want to work there. And I think if you build a company that kind of has that aspect and that kind of just that wholesome feeling, people will want to work for you.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to what we've been learning in class, and it's great that you brought this up, is you saw it firsthand. You
Yep.
saw how well they treat people, and also just the aspect of they don't care if you give away a hat. It costs them what, $1, $2? They buy so many, they sell so many, but you change that kid's day. You gave them a great memory, and they're going to remember that for decades.
And they're going to keep coming back to Disney,
and that's
right?
Exactly.
the branding.
Yeah.
And that's the branding and the thinking behind that company is we want to create that moment for those people, for that kid, no matter what, because you just made a customer for life. And they're going to spend, how much X amount of dollars over the course of their lives. You're going to bring their kids, their grandkids. So that's what it's all about. And that's just, not only is it good business, but it's being a good people.
Yeah, and it's amazing talking to people about that too. And I'll just run into people and they're just sitting there. I'm like, oh, hey, how's it going? Like, where are we from? Because people from all around, and they'll come back and tell me about stories that, like, what cast members have done with them in the past, and like how amazing it was, and how they come back all the time, and they have an annual pass now, and it's like, oh, that's amazing. And just like people are just like, just one thing will change their entire lives. And I've worked with people who are like, oh yeah, like I had a disability and coming to Disney was the only place where like it wasn't a difference. It didn't make a difference that I had it. And because we have like so many rides that are disability accessible.
Very cool.
And so, I worked
Has
alongside.
Disney always been like that, or is that sort of a recent thing? Do you know?
I feel like Disney has always been like that, because he was in his 20s and he was little.
Right.
When he would go to Disney, and he was wheelchair bound.
Right. And
he was able to go on the rides, and he had cast members who physically lifted him out of a wheelchair to put him into a roller coaster seat, because it wasn't transferable.
Okay.
So that he could ride his first ever roller coaster.
Right.
That's awesome.
So cast members physically lifted this child so he could ride his first roller coaster.
That's awesome. And again, just he remembers that, eh? So
and now he's working for the company, and he absolutely loves it.
There you
Like,
go.
so many people, that's where it all starts, is they're like, this happened to me when I came to visit, and now I'm working here because I want to do the same thing.
Wow. That's great. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So I guess, what's it like being back now? Like, do you just want to go back right now, or is
do you
it
see
sort of a
yourself maybe having a future with the company?
Yeah.
I definitely haven't shut that door. I'm really not sure where I would go with the company. I don't really want to leave Canada. Healthcare is a big, it's a big string on that. Yeah. Coming back here, I definitely found that like I've changed culturally. Like, I guess it's like an American thing to say restroom. Do you guys say restroom?
I say bathroom.
I say washroom.
Yeah.
Bathroom.
I say restroom now. I guess it's an American thing. Or
I've never said restroom. That is interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Or I say y'all. I just throw it in every now and then, kind of like how I should say a, but now I say y'all.
Interesting. Okay.
My sister hates it.
You'll change that back though quickly. Like you'll go back to a and.
I know. I was doing interviews and kept saying y'all, and I was like, this is unprofessional. It's just like I didn't think like Florida would be that much of a cultural difference, but like it's just like the little things people like pick up and they're like, what? Like the way I write my date now, I guess they write it different in America, and I write it that way now. Like,
interesting.
Just different things like that I've picked up that I guess
were you considering in a moment of staying, or was it sort of inevitable that you were going to come back and want to come back?
I definitely had plans set up to come home. So many people do just stay. I mean, there is like the visa restriction you kind of got to get around. You do have to come back for a little bit to reapply to get a different visa, or you can just start the whole program with like a better visa so that you can extend. But like a lot of people it's called an extension because you can it's a possibility of extending another 6 months.
Okay.
To like stay for the year, and you stay in the housing, or you can apply to be part-time. Like, it happens all the time. People always do it. I don't think I really considered staying very long just because I was so far. I did get homesick. Like, when you asked, I did get homesick. I came home a few weeks before I was permanently coming home.
Okay.
Just to, like, eat the fridge, obviously. But, come see family and friends. And, it's definitely, like, 6 months of, being pretty independent.
Yeah. Especially in that living situation, too, with those girls and the maggots.
I definitely miss mom. Mom doing laundry and dishes. Yeah, I definitely miss that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, before our time is up here, Caitlin, we just kind of want to ask you, now that you're back here, what's one or two things that you have kind of put to heart and that are one of your favorite things about the college or Kingston in general? What's your favorite hidden gem about SLC? Doesn't have to be a place. Is it a person? Is it the staff or something like that? Oh, sorry.
You're falling, brother.
Thank you.
I think I just miss the home feeling of Kingston and all the small little bits, like my significant other and I would always go and grab coffee and sit at the top of Fort Henry, and we would talk while either the sun went down or the sun rose.
Yeah, right.
And that would be like our little coffee
Just sitting in
date.
the parking lot there.
Yeah, and it's and like just like those like little things I really miss, you know, being able to do. And
It's a great spot for pictures up there too.
right?
Yeah.
And even just like grabbing coffee on the way to school, like I would always pick up a coffee for me and for my friend while we were like going to catch class.
Right.
And I like missed those like
Little
habits.
routine
Yeah.
habits. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I miss buying you coffee for class.
Right. Yeah.
Which seems weird, but
No,
like,
but it's routine. It's special to you, and it's sort
It
of like
is,
there's
yeah.
a reason why you do those things, right?
exactly. It was just like a homey feeling.
So,
You know, I was like, yeah, I'll pick you up a coffee. Like, let's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't pick up coffee at, they don't have Tim Hortons there in
Yeah.
Florida. Do you know they don't know what poutine is?
No, they don't. They don't know what a
That's a
double
shame.
is.
That is a crime
No
right
poutine.
there.
They
Yeah.
they don't know what butter tarts are.
Oh,
It's
Lot of-
insane.
I can't
A lot
do
of
it.
different
I can't
cultures.
They
do it.
call themselves foodies, but
And-
like you don't
Yeah.
know what food is.
and is pop called soda?
Oh my god, I was so
That was different
embarrassed.
too?
I went to the movies. And I was like, I don't know what like your combos are here because at Cineplex you're like, I didn't get the number one. It's a popcorn small, and they kind of looked at me weird, and I was like, I'm gonna get a pop and a small popcorn, please. And they're like, you want 2 popcorns? And I was like, no, a pop and you know like a pop
but they don't
and then
get
a
that often.
popcorn. And he had to grab his manager.
Oh
I'm
my
so
God.
embarrassed. He's like, oh, you want a soda?
Oh.
I'm yes. Yes. Like, what was the difference?
Yeah,
They're
but
like,
I mean,
what's a pop?
wow.
I was
Wow,
so
it's really
embarrassed.
that uncommon. That's crazy.
That was my experience in Gainesville.
But it's funny because like we would know what a soda is
Yeah.
and we know what a pop is, but they wouldn't even. Anyway, I guess
I was so
We're
embarrassed.
so
what it
much
is,
more
yeah.
exposed to
Yeah,
culture
yeah,
than they would
yeah.
be here, so.
So
Yeah,
embarrassed.
apparently.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's crazy.
Awesome.
Don't ever
Well-
ask for pop at a movie theater in
ask for
America.
pop,
They'll
yeah.
bring out their manager. It's bad.
Well, thank you for coming on today. We really appreciate you giving your insight to maybe some students who are on the fence about doing the International Disney program. Hopefully your insights today have kind of provided a look into that world. Hopefully the living situation with the girls doesn't scare them off.
I hope so too. It's definitely super rare, and it's definitely not something that I've never heard it happen to anyone else. So I would not base any decisions off of that. Just know that you might have to clean after 1 or 2 people every
Yeah.
now and then. That's
It was
normal,
a very interesting
so.
story though, so we
It was
thank you for sharing
it was
that. Yeah.
interesting. That's why I share it. But
Yeah.
like it's not common at all.
Yeah,
So like
fair
I
enough.
wouldn't be like I'm not gonna do it because of this story because it doesn't happen.
Awesome.
I'm just rare. It just happens to me.
Well, it sounds like you had a great time and you made some memories for life and really got a great experience, which is what we want the international experience to be like for students coming here and for students going abroad. So thank you for your insights today, Caitlin. And that about does it for today. So thanks for watching, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Cheers.
That was awesome.
That was pretty cool. I mean, a unique perspective. Not that we would consider Orlando, Florida as an
No.
international destination.
Yeah.
But really cool, unique perspective kind of hear just the corporate culture of Disney World.
Absolutely.
Make everybody's moment special and just go out of your way. Give away some free little merchandise, which might cost the company cents on the dollar.
Yeah, like
but-
sort of that new age of a corporate culture,
Yeah.
right? You know, like you hear a lot of those old time experiences of working for a corporation can be really stingy, but when you're working with someone like that, it really feels like a community vibe. Especially like you want that at Disney.
Well, I mean, let's think about it. It's not an every week or even an every year trip. I mean, some
Yeah.
of these people are spending thousands and thousands of dollars to
Yeah.
bring their family and their kids to Disney World. I mean, it might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so I really think the directive of Disney corporate to go above and beyond and to make everything count is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So thank you, Caitlin, for coming on.
great.
Yeah,
That was
there was a
wonderful.
lot of really insightful things and a lot of crazy
She sounded
stories
like
there.
she had fun. A bit of messy roommates.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But
that's to
overall,
be
that's
expected,
going
right?
to happen sometimes, and it was nice that she was able to give us another positive reflection despite all those terrible roommates that she had.
And it's pretty cool. I mean, she came all the way to St. Lawrence just for that program, and it really kind of shows you the power and the draw that programs in this college have. So
Yeah.
kudos to that, and hopefully more and more students have the ability to kind of go and experience that. I think
Yeah.
that'd be really cool
Yeah.
as a person in your 20s to kind of get out and do that. It'd be really really
Yeah.
awesome.
So once again, you can call us at our extension 1677. If you have any ideas that you want to have on the podcast, if you want to come on, we're happy to have you on. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. And thank you, Leighton, for stepping in once again.
Thanks, guys. Hopefully this isn't my last time.
Oh, yeah.
Happy to help out. And
Absolutely.
take care. We'll see you on the other side.
Thanks. See you soon.